Suffer now or suffer forever. Every man must face this truth. Life will make you suffer. There is no escape. The only choice you have, the only choice, is when and how. Will you suffer now on your own terms? Or will you suffer forever on life's terms? Most men refuse to hear this. They want ease. They want comfort. They want shortcuts. And so they pay the price, not today, not tomorrow, but forever. Because when you dodge today's suffering, you're not escaping it. You're multiplying it. You're pushing it into your future, where it compounds and comes back with interest. That's the law of existence. You pay up front with discipline, or you bleed endlessly with regret. The lie of comfort. Modern men are drowning in comfort. Soft beds, endless entertainment, food at their fingertips, validation in their pocket. And yet misery spreads like wildfire. Anxiety, depression, emptiness, weakness. Why? Because comfort doesn't heal. Comfort doesn't grow you. Comfort doesn't test you. Comfort slowly kills you while convincing you that you're alive. You think you're resting, but you're rotting. You think you're safe, but you're enslaved. You think you're free, but you're addicted. Comfort is the slowest kind of death. A man who chases it never escapes suffering. He just drags it out until his last breath. The truth of discipline. Discipline is suffering, yes. But it is the suffering that saves you. The 5 a.m. alarm that drags you out of bed. The workout when your muscles are screaming. The studying when your mind wants to quit. The silence when the world begs you to speak. These are not punishments. They are the proof that you are alive, awake, and willing to pay the price of greatness. Discipline is voluntary suffering. And voluntary suffering builds strength, character, and peace. Because when you suffer by choice, life can't surprise you with pain. You've already forged yourself in the fire. You've already endured. You've already bled. So when chaos strikes, you don't break. You nod. You breathe. You move. Because you've been here before. The pain of now versus the pain of later. There are 2 types of pain in this life. 1. The pain of discipline. It stings. It burns. It pushes you. But it's temporary. It builds muscle. It sharpens focus. It gives returns that compound over time. 2. The pain of regret. It lingers. It corrodes. It poisons. It doesn't build, it destroys. It doesn't end, it grows heavier with every passing year. Discipline's pain is measured in minutes and hours. Regret's pain is measured in decades and lifetimes. You either suffer now, while you have the time, the strength, the chance. Or you suffer forever, when it's too late to change. Most men don't see the trap. Most men think they're getting away with their laziness. Skipping the workout. Skipping the reading. Skipping the grind. They laugh. They say, "I'll do it later." They think no one notices. They think life isn't keeping score. But life notices. Time notices. Their body notices. Their mind notices. And when the years pass, and the weight of all those skipped moments comes crashing down, that's when the real suffering begins. The body breaks down. The dreams slip away. The spirit collapses. And the man realizes, too late, that every day of comfort was a day of debt. And now the debt collector has arrived. The price of weakness. Understand this, weakness is expensive. A weak man pays more in every area of life. He pays more in health, because he neglected his body. He pays more in relationships, because no one respects a man who can't lead himself. He pays more in opportunities, because the world rewards strength, not excuses. Weakness is a life sentence of suffering. And yet most men sign themselves up for it. Why? Because they were afraid of today's pain. Because they thought comfort was free. But nothing is free. Everything costs. And weakness costs the most. The gift of suffering. Here's what most men will never understand. Suffering is not your enemy. It's your ally. Suffering introduces you to yourself. It strips away the lies, the ego, the comfort. It leaves you bare, raw, unmasked. And in that state you see clearly who you are, who you're not, and who you could become. That's why the strongest men don't run from suffering. They seek it. They embrace it. They bleed for it. Because they know, suffering now is freedom later. Bleed in the gym so you don't bleed in war. Sweat in practice so you don't crumble in battle. Sacrifice today so tomorrow is yours. The choice every man must make. There comes a point in every man's life where the choice is clear. Will you embrace voluntary suffering and pay the price now? Or will you delay and pay the price forever? There's no third option. No escape. No loophole. If you don't suffer by choice, you will suffer by force. If you don't suffer in the gym, you'll suffer in the hospital. If you don't suffer in discipline, you'll suffer in regret. If you don't suffer in building your future, you'll suffer in watching it collapse. The men who rise. Look at the men you respect. The ones you admire. The ones you call legends. None of them escaped suffering. They didn't rise because life was easy. They rose because they chose the suffering that forged them. They bled in training so they could dominate in battle. They suffered in silence so their voice carried weight. They died to their weakness so their strength could live. And because they suffered early, they live differently. They walk with power. They speak with authority. They rest with peace. Because they know they paid their dues. The men who fall. Now look at the men who failed. The ones who wasted their potential. The ones who grew bitter, resentful, small. They too suffered. But their suffering was endless. They suffered in poverty. They suffered in poor health. They suffered in broken relationships. They suffered in regret so heavy it crushed them from the inside. Why? Because they refused to suffer when it mattered. They refused to pay the price when it was small. And so the price became infinite. The eternal law. Suffer now, or suffer forever. It's not a suggestion. It's not a motivational quote. It's a law as real as gravity. Every rep you skip is added to the weight of regret. Every day you waste is added to the years of pain. Every excuse compounds into a life of quiet despair. But every sacrifice you make now is an investment. Every tear, every drop of sweat, every ounce of discipline is buying your freedom, your peace, your legacy. Final word. The question is not whether you will suffer. The question is only this. Will you suffer now, with purpose, with discipline, with intention? Or will you suffer forever, with regret, with weakness, with decay? The answer determines the kind of man you become. The answer determines whether your name is remembered or forgotten. The answer determines whether you live free, or die chained to the comfort you once worshipped. So choose. Right now. Because time won't wait. Life won't wait. Death won't wait. Suffer now, or suffer forever.